Hi everybody, my name is Patience Williams and I chose to do my project on Spirit of the Dead Watching by Paul Gauguin, shown here, which I was fortunate to get to see and study at Crystal Bridges Museum in Bentonville, Arkansas. Paul Gauguin was an extremely talented and unprecedented artist, mainly producing art in the latter half of the 19th century. He was undoubtedly unconventional. He abandoned his home and wife and family to move to Brittany, France, and then to Tahiti in 1891. There he immersed himself in the culture of the native people and found freedom and inspiration. He tried for a very long time to find a sanctuary like this where he could live simply and work on his art, and often battled depression and even contemplated suicide when he couldn't achieve that. In Tahiti, his work was heavily influenced by the native culture and sometimes involved his 13-year-old Tahitian girlfriend, Tamura. He favored a colorful, primitive style that expressed an abundance of life and feeling. Here are a few examples of that. Spirit of the Dead Watching is also a perfect example of this theme. It shows Tamura lying on the bed in a very scandalous position, looking out in pure terror, with a strange figure behind her. Gauguin finished this haunting piece in 1892, and its meaning is still largely a mystery. The elderly figure in the background is much of the intrigue. Is she a Tahitian tiki? Is she the spirit of the dead? Is she even real? And the girl, why is she so terrified? She's looking out at her audience. Is whoever she's looking at causing this fear? Or is she aware of the mysterious figure behind her, or perhaps thinking fearfully of the spirit of the dead, making the figure part of her imagination? Furthermore, the Tahitian name of this piece is Manau to Papau, which can mean both that someone is thinking of a spirit or a spirit is thinking of them. Is this all the spirit's imagining? No one can be sure, and this incredible intrigue is still relevant today. This piece has a relatively balanced composition with a horizontal plane and many repeated parallel horizontal lines forming the structure and layers of the scene. Its balance is asymmetrical, with the spirit on the left and the Tahitian girl on the right. In the background, the painting has obvious hatching in deep blues and purples in varying shades. Gauguin used skill and overlap to create an illusion of depth and space between the two subjects of the painting, with the scared young girl drawn significantly larger and therefore obviously in the foreground. The colors in this painting are very striking, with an abundance of cool blues and purples. The subjects are relatively flat, with subtle black outlining. This emphasizes the negative feelings evoked by the position and expressions of the subjects. The subjects are in realistic forms and seem raw and unstylized. The young girl's frozen, stiff body and terrified expression are haunting. The raw emotion and feeling in this piece make it perfect for psychoanalysis. From this point of view, one automatically thinks of the fact that Gauguin's Tahitian lover was so incredibly young. The artist was known to have quite an affinity for young girls, and with this knowledge we can move on to asking why that is. Gauguin seemed to have lived his life chasing happiness and freedom and running from traditional steps like settling down with his wife and 5 children. Perhaps he was terrified of aging. It could be that the young girl is horrified looking at the artist himself, seeing how he's gotten old. Maybe the spirit of death is there for him, not her, and the whole scene is simply, instinctively, a representation of Gauguin's own personal fears. Therefore, one could say that he was projecting his own all-consuming terror onto the young girl, and that is why her expression and the mood of the painting as a whole is so compellingly real. She is young, she is what the artist wants to be, and she is horrified at the sight of him, a clear rejection of any possibility of him achieving his desire of youthfulness. Gauguin has created a stark contrast between what he is and what she is, and insinuated that the two can never fully be one. This masterpiece falls under the category of post-impressionism, just like all of Gauguin's other work. This movement was of course significantly influenced by the Impressionists of just a few years prior. Both groups were highly drawn to vivid colors and obvious distinctive brushstrokes, as you can see here. The top pictures are Impressionism, and the bottom are post-impressionism. The main difference between the two is that the post-impressionists abandoned the foggy, undefined atmospheres of the impressionist world in favor of much clearer definitions. The post-impressionists pushed the restrictive boundaries of the art world by involving highly emotional content in their work. Impressionist paintings were significantly more calm and relaxed. Their successors, per se, brought rigid feeling and drama and evocation into art, just like the Hellenistic period in Greece took over classical stylization around the 4th century BC and reinstituted drama into art. This seems to be a relatively consistent trend throughout history. The Baroque period in Italy in the 17th and early 18th centuries overtook Mannerism and brought about the same kind of drastic change. The post-impressionist painters were probably distantly, if not consciously, influenced by both of these movements, for all of art evolves. For instance, the Hellenistic period, which you can see some examples of here, explored the deepest parts of humanity. There was an emphasis on the hardships of becoming older and physically ailing, which one could absolutely cite as an influence on Gauguin, based on our aforementioned psychoanalysis. Hellenistic artists were interested in evoking raw emotion from their audience. That is, of course, evident in Gauguin's work as well, and in the work of many other post-impressionists. In conclusion, this piece is so incredibly relevant to people from any time and at any age. Everyone has that one fear that secretly consumes the darker parts of their heart, and this painting puts that fear perfectly on display. The fear of letting youth slip through your fingers, which I believe was a large influence on Gauguin, is ever prominent, especially in a society completely obsessed with doing whatever they can to stay relevant and beautiful. To me, Tahira is the symbol of all of our deep fears, and that gives this work an immeasurable amount of psychological value. Thank you guys so much for watching.